First of all, I want to introduce a friend, Eddie and Sarah Armstrong from Lebanon, Missouri. They've been collecting carnival about 3 years, and this is their first convention, I understand, so make them feel at home and get to know them. All right, Eddie, you raise cattle. Do you know what you call a cow after she's had her baby? Decaffeinated. And I only know 2 more jokes. One of them's clean, one of them's dirty. So as soon as Sam's done, then I'll share my other 2 jokes. So Sam, you got it.
Sam Scott from Springfield, Missouri. We are the Springfield Connection. Tim and I both live there. Welcome to Missouri, and hope you all are having a great time. So we've been collecting carnival glass, Sharon and I have, for since 14, so 11 years now. And we're water set collectors. We collect a lot of other things, but we really got into water sets because before we started collecting carnival, we collected Fenton glass, and I enjoyed water sets. She enjoyed perfumes and candlesticks and a lot of other variation things, but we just kind of continued on in the carnival glass with water sets, and then that led to plates and bowls and all the other knickknacks that you come up with. But our goal was to collect Fenton water sets, and of course 3 or 4 or 5 Fenton water sets, we were like, oh, this Northwood one looks pretty good, you know, and this Imperial one looks pretty good. So we brought 3 examples from each of the 5 makers and a lonely Gibson. Poor little ugly Gibson here, you know, gosh darn that thing is just, everybody's complimenting me on how that is. That's called Lavender Slag and made by Gibson, and it's dated 1992 on the bottom.
Yeah.
So Charlie Gibson, a lot of you know things about him. Mitchell's expert on, knows him very well, and so he can tell you a lot about him. Up here in the Fenton, we have Lily of the Valley, one of our first purchases where we said we're going to go big. We're going to go for the hardest piece to find. And after studying it for about 2 years, I said, you know what? There's one in an auction. We're going to go for it. So we went to the Poucher auction in 2014, and the number 5 piece got us to the harvest, sold for $50-some thousand, and we were like, "Jeez, are we in the wrong place or what?" You know. And so we waited for a couple hundred pieces, and finally our pitcher and tumblers came up, and about 2 or 3 bids later, we owned it. We gave what we weren't going to give, but you know, and so we ended up with that excellent piece there. Next is a Columbine in the green, and it's a zigzag design with the Columbine, and then we have a blueberry, and it's probably the highest priced piece on the Hooked on Carnival database as being given for that. And then we have the old Fenton Happiness Bird. I studied up a little bit on that, and that was designed back in 53. 1953, Fenton said they wanted to make something to kind of show what they make, and I imagine being carnival like that, it was probably done in the 90s, I'd say. Yeah. But, excuse me. Millersburg, one of our pride and joys here is the Gay 90s, and there's not very many of them known. This one's in excellent shape, no problems with it. I went after it a few years ago, and excuse me, and ended up getting that. And then we have a Perfection pitcher in the amethyst, and hanging cherries in the marigold. Down here to Imperial, we have a tiger lily and a octagon and a windmill. What's that? Oh, thank you. My sister Carol. She lives in. Yeah. She lives in Jeff City, so handy. We have a Northwood. We have a white wisteria, and a ice blue grape arbor, and a cherry blossom, apple blossom. Excuse me. Apple blossom comes out of the size of the collection. Wherever they're at. In Dugan, we have a garden home and a quill pitcher, and so you take it over, Tim.
Well, okay.
Got a lot of other good stuff.
Huh. And I turned myself off. Let me turn myself off.
You're on mute.
Yeah, we're on. Okay. Well, I'll turn it back over to you in a little bit. I'll tell you the dirty joke. Most of you have been to Silver Dollar City, and probably a lot of you have been down into the Marble Cave below Silver Dollar City. When they first discovered that cave, just like it is now, full of bats, well, when they discovered it, it was full of guano, which made wonderful fertilizer, so they just mined it until it was all pooped out. Okay. But first thing I want to ask is, what's my favorite color or colors?
All of them.
Okay, thank you. There you go. Okay. First thing I want to say is, this is not stretch glass. Okay? Yes. Not stretch glass. That is a swung vase. This is stretch glass. Okay? Epergne. We got some other colors in Epergnes. Fenton made probably about 10 different colors in Epergnes. The red one is not in the regular line, very hard to find, the red Epergne, if you happen to run across one. Well, while I'm here, we own the Stretch Glass Society owns the melon rib mold and the dolphin compote mold. We had Mossert, we had to teach them how to make stretch glass. They made some black melon rib pieces out of stretch, and this was a whimsy. And as you can see, their furnaces were too hot because they burnt some of the iridescence off of the edges. So we had to make 2 runs, but we got some. Okay, I have seen 100 imperial red swans. This is the only amberina one I've ever seen. Isn't that pretty? I remember one of my first HOACGA conventions. There was they thought it was an imperial, what's that pattern? Acanthus. They thought it was imperial. That was before we discovered that Fenton had the mold and made some. I still haven't figured out whether it sold for $600. I remember that. And they sold it as imperial. I still don't know whether it really was imperial or whether it was Fenton before we found out. This is the only rose bowl I've ever seen in blue.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Here's a beautiful piece of stretch that Fenton made. I have all the pieces of the America plates. This one, probably the only one you've ever seen that is iridized in the middle. They're usually satin in the middle. I've heard of 2 that are iridized all the way through on this one, Mount Rushmore in green. This is an enigma because it's dated 1975. The regular ones were in yellow, but it's marked ALIG, which was not used until 1984. So I don't know if it was made in 84 or if it was made by somebody else afterwards. So this is the only one I've ever seen in amethyst. So there are some odd colors of the America plates. While I'm back here, don't you wish Northwood had iridized American Beauty? They didn't. So by the way, I've got non-carnival up here, but if I live long enough, I'll have Mosser make some of these colors in carnival, okay? For example, Cameo, as far as I know, Fenton never iridized Cameo. Now this is a U.S. piece, chocolate slag, and as far as I know, they never iridized it. But if I get a chance, I'm going to iridize some in this color. I love opaques, love opals. Okay. Geraldine. Here, anybody that wants one, and we can make some more. Here's the story on Geraldine. Geraldine Kimple from Kimple Glass in the 50s visited this summit and had this color made. Only 80 Homestead plates were made, and only 36 chrysanthemum plates were made. Okay, I've got 2 of each. So if you have Geraldine, and like for example this one, you can, if you hold it up, you'll see it's got some slag in it. Every one is different. So orange, I've seen some that looked red. So it's called Geraldine. Huh?
Why is it called Geraldine?
You can read it. There you go. If you want one, you can come and get one. That's why. Every piece up here is to me special. Now this is just peach opal bowl, but have you ever seen with the points up like that? They must have were holding this one right when they made it. And a beautiful folding fan. Coming back from Chicago in March, I stopped at the Midway Antique Mall, and I found this for $90. So, back in March. So once in a while you find something good around here. And I don't know who made that jade opal vase, but I'd love to see that in Carnival. This is the only wisteria lotus and I forget now. Anyway, Billy Richards found it, and I own it now. Lotus and grape bowl in wisteria. Here's a Vaseline opal wild rose bowl and Vaseline opal, but this is a variant. I've never seen it in a variant. You see some of the cobalt blue ones. I've only seen one marigold one in variant. I used to have a complete set of wild rose except for the one aqua opal. I never did.
What makes it a variant?
You have to look at it and you'll see that it's got a stippled rib in the inside and then a plain rib. The non-variant it's different. You have to have them side by side to know the difference. But this is the only variant I've seen in opalescent. And it's rare in Vaseline. You can see I like red, but I like red. See the red around the edge of that? I have an extensive collection of open rose, and I brought the rose bowl. This is the only one I've seen in this color. Somebody said they'd seen another one, but this is Peacock and Dahlia, and you see them in red. It's HOACGA souvenir, dated 1991, but it's the only one I've seen in ice blue or aqua opal. Do what? Is there? Okay. Okay, good. Well, second one then. But anyway, now poppy show vases. I've got a couple of my favorites. Of course, these are contemporary. Every time I bid on an old one, they go through the roof. So the last marigold one I bid on went for $1,200, so I didn't get it. Violet opal, as far as I'm concerned, one of their best colors. And then this is the blue, I forget what they called it, but I call it Persian blue. But anyway, here's a list of all of the, and everybody's welcome to one. If we need to make more copies, I made 100 copies, of all of the poppy show vases made for Singleton Bailey. From, I have to take my glasses to see, 95 to 03. The only two that were not made for Singleton Bailey, one was for the Lincoln Land Club, an ice blue opal or aqua opal, and then the plum opal, mostly whimsies, which you sold one back in March that I used to own. But anyway, No, well, I owned it way back. And I didn't get nearly that much for it. But anyway, when Frank Fentlin walked in the factory and saw those, he said those weren't supposed to be made because they had a contract with Singleton Bailey that he's the only one that could sell them. So anyway, they made them by mistake, and then the rest is history. So that's what everything that sells for big bucks was accidents or mistakes. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Ripple vases. I love ripple vases. And now this is rib spiral, and here's the grandpa, and there's the baby, and I've got three in between. And these are imperial ripple vases. Rib spiral has a circle on the bottom. Imperial ripple vases have stars on the bottom. This is the only one I've ever seen with this base. By the way, if you look at these ripple vases, I've got 3 or 4 different base sizes here. I don't have a funeral currently. And I'd have, if I had it, which there's only one red ripple vase, that would be right there. Does anybody know who owns the one red ripple vase? I know it exists, but I don't know where it is or who owns it.
Last I knew, Nigel Gamble from Canada owned it.
Okay, wow. There is one red ripple vase. Sam, are you ready to go for it again? Go right ahead. You want the...
So one of Sharon's favorites, it was in an auction where her and Joan Doty got in a fierce battle. And Sharon won out, but Joan was promised that someday she might own it. So, but that thing is just fabulous, and you just don't see that kind of crazy around the edge they've done there. Another one of her favorites is the grape frisee with the great nutmeg.
What's the pattern on the?
Pattern is, this is a Persian medallion. Yeah, Persian medallion with a plain back. Green. It's kind of green, isn't it? Gosh, but it's got it's almost like they painted things. I'm not sure how they did all that when they iridized things, but they just, the striking of the bronze and the gold and all the colors just really come out. So yeah, and the grape frisee is one of her favorites. Nutmeg with the pearlized, we just really thought that was a fabulous bowl. A cherry chain chop plate, and I see they got one over there. Both of them fabulous, just great. And what else? Well, we've got a few aqua opal pieces. This another from the HOACGA collection, and there's pretty good background history on that, from going back and forth between people. You know, that I want that back, I want that. You know, so yeah, how that goes. And another aqua opal peacock bowl there. And gosh, we got this is the tallest Vaseline thin rib vase recorded, and give a good price for that. And Don Clark special at a sapphire peacock bowl. Got the Marigold Ohio Star here, and piece out of the Morgan collection here. We're not sure if it's the Morgan or the May, but it was in the near auction
I think so.
in Indianapolis. And some candlesticks from the Johnson collection, the 449 iridized red. And we just, Sharon and I have we pick up things we like to look at, and we got a house full. Yep.
Okay.
Come and visit us. We're in Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah. Okay. My clean joke. Why do Eskimos do their laundry in tide? Because it's too cold outside. Okay. This talk was supposed to be about the highs and lows of Carnival Glass. This bowl sold at auction at one point for $3,000. I bought it for $1,600, and I think they've been going a little less than that because there's been a few of them come on the market here lately, but that's a good one. Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Little flowers?
Yes, little flowers. I'm sorry. Peacock tail chop plate. As far as I know, correct me if you know of another one. As far as I know, this is the only one. It sold originally for $5,000, then it sold for $1,600, and then I stole it. Okay? That's the only one that's known, period, in any color, as far as I know. Okay, peacock vases. This is the only emerald green one. Fenton had trouble making them. Less than 100 were made. This is the only one I've ever seen that has blue iridescence. This one was just made by Mosser for West Virginia Glass. They made it in teal, less than 100 made. I wasn't going to bring this, but one in California a week ago brought $925, so I said, I'm bringing it. So as far as I know, they didn't iridize any Vaseline or Vaseline Opal peacock vases, as far as I know. Okay, back to stretch. I've got some pretty pieces. If you have any questions later, you can ask me. I love stretch glass. Up until about 10 years ago, we did not know that Phoenix Consolidated made stretch glass. Here's 3 different colors, 3 different shapes, and they're cased and they are iridized stretch and stretched. And I love stretch glass. I'm glad I didn't sell that beautiful piece of Celeste blue. Oh, but when I was speaking about peacock tail, here's probably one of my favorite pieces, this electric blue peacock tail bowl. I got lime green opal. You see I've got quite a bit of Northwood, different colors. Now when I first started collecting Carnival 30 years ago, Northwood was king, Millersburg was starting to get hot, and everybody ignored Imperial. So guess what I bought? Pansy, and of course I've got Imperial here. But this one, now I bought this at a Mickey Ritual auction when Carnival was at its peak. Mickey Ritchell called that lavender ice ruffled plate. So I paid $400 for it, which I had sold enough glass that day, so I was in a good mood, and it was worth $400 to me. So anyway, so I've got amber, I've got lavender ice, smoke, purple, and well, I consider that emerald green. So you can see I've got other pieces of imperial there. And probably my best piece, my favorite, is Vaseline nesting swan bowl, Millersburg, and that's the only perfect one I know of. There's a couple of damaged ones, but now a square one has shown up, so it's in Tennessee. You see, I love marigold, and this is up here. You have to look at it closely, but it is powder blue. Marigold, I always check, see if it's got color in the glass. This is a beautiful base, but it is powder blue. And here's a beautiful, this is what you call pumpkin, imperial pumpkin marigold. And my very first #1 in my inventory, over 7,000 pieces ago, was a green shell, one big one and 3 little ones. And the marigold ones are actually hardest to find, but it's got super color. I've had this for a while, if you can see all the beautiful pinks in this. Tulip and cane, and I spent 25 years waiting to find a smoke one that wasn't damaged on the bottom. 90% of these will have damage on the bottom, but this one's perfect and my smoke one's perfect. I found this not too long ago, octagon, and I don't know if this is a dark camcloth or a light smoke, but it's just pretty. Got a little bit of art glass here. These were made by a company called Alvin in St. Louis, Missouri. As far as I know, the only glass company in St. Louis, Missouri, made at the turn of the century art glass. And then I've got some various art glass here, European, whatever. Now, if I can ever find out, Summit Glass had the formula for Rubina Verde, Cambridge's Rubina Verde, because they made this and iridized it. See how pretty it is? If it's done right, it has green, blue, and ruby in it, combination. So if I ever can find the formula for it, I'm going to have it iridized in something. So then I've got Imperial New Art, and I'll just go ahead and end with, my dad didn't lose all of his marbles. He collected marbles, and there's a lot of similarity between marbles and carnival glass. Marbles, the more colors, more numbers of colors you have, the more valuable they are. I've got some snakes, I've got some corkscrews, and then a Popeye is a corkscrew with 4 or more colors. I once had a 8-color corkscrew, which is extremely rare. And then, of course, the smaller ones, and then the bigger ones, what do you call that? Shooters. Yeah, shooters. Those are generally more valuable. So anyway, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. Any questions on anything? For me or Sam?
Over there, you have 3 of them that have sort of the cranberry top.
Oh, well, I'm not an expert on art glass, but I know they're European. Does anybody know who made these?
Probably Rhineskopf.
Rhineskopf, maybe. Anyway, I just like it because of the combination of colors.
I do too.
And I would love to see that in Carnival. So,
I have a question.
yes.
You're noticing a great gold over here that you said was wisteria. Is that got like a stretchiness to it?
Yes, it does. Yeah, you're welcome to look at it. It is a light amethyst, and it is stretchy. Yeah, wisteria, for it to be wisteria, it's got to be stretch. Yeah. Wisteria is a stretch color.
What's the base next to the new art?
Oh, this one? That's one of my favorites. Imperial free fold. Free fold. Okay, just a squatty base and all spread. Yeah, it is. It is, and it's spread out. So, and I paid like $15 for it. So, if it wasn't for that one, you would probably have more color for the money up here than anywhere else in the world. Yes.
Tim, you know about when the opalescent ripple bases were produced?
The opalescent, which one?
Ripples?
Ripples. Oh, probably in the 20s, maybe 30s. I've seen a couple of other pieces of imperial, but as far as I know, they didn't iridize any opalescent glass, unfortunately. So, yeah. Any questions for Sam? Did I leave anything out?
Tim?
Yes.
Did you misspeak when you said 7,000 pieces?
I started my inventory as a business with number one, and I'm up to about 7,500. I have. Well, okay, now wait a minute. My current inventory is about 1,600. So over the years, I've sold over 6,000 items. Now, an item can be an 8-piece water set or whatever, you know, or a punch bowl. So yeah, I bought and sold a lot of glass. Yeah.
The banana
kept-
bug kind of.
That is European floral and sunburst, and here's a Ida. Jordan there. I've got this in 2 sizes, and they are gorgeous. European glass. Yeah.
Extraordinary iridescence on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Jim,
Sir. Yeah.
can we have something that you didn't mention?
Probably not. What did I forget? What did I overlook?
The Roadshow variant flag.
Oh, well, it's pretty. The name of my business is Pretty Things Antiques, no ugly here. So, if I were to find a Frolicking Bears pitcher or tumbler out somewhere, I would probably buy it and sell it as fast as I could. And if you ever see a pretty one, let me know.
I have a question for Sam. When was that, the slag picture in front made?
92.
92.
Yeah.
92. It's got a stamped date on the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a run of them, or?
Very few. This
Slag.
came from the Valentine Alves collection.
Yeah.
And
One, usually they bought duplicates of things.
Yeah.
I only had one, and I have one. I don't know of any others.
Yeah. Slag is hot. And by the way, if it's not got white in it, it's not slag. It may be swirl. It may have swirls in the color, but if it's not got white in it, it's to me, it's not slag. Either way, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen amethyst with an amethyst swirl or a blue swirl in it, but it's not slag if it doesn't have white in it.
Oh, you didn't say anything about your
little aqua opal bonbon there.
yeah, the bonbon.
Well, it's just a pretty little thing, isn't it? I don't know what to say about it. It's aqua opal, and another one of them that Sharon just thought, wow, that's really great. I said, boy, it does have great color, so it's in our collection. We've grown to like aqua opal, and I think you always do. And it's one of the highs in carnival glass, you know. And yeah, we like. I'm beginning to like ice blue, and I've always liked sapphire. And our water set collection is 130 plus. I know people that have 30-some punch bowl sets, and I'm always, wow, how can you have that many punch bowl sets, display them, and even think about, you know, but
Do you
It's
display
just,
them with all of the tumblers?
and we just display one tumbler at a time. So poor Miss Sharon, our kitchen cabinets and
Yeah,
other cabinets in the house
They've
have
run out of room.
5 or 6 tumblers stashed away. We probably, if we have 130 pictures, we probably have 500 or 600 tumblers. So most all of them have a full, I've tried to collect a full set of tumblers with them.
Let me close with this, and I asked George Fenton about this. This is from Glass A to Z under Carnival Glass. It says, variations in the process include spraying the ware more than once with different solutions, varying the amount of the spray, or allowing the glass to cool somewhat before spraying. The spray on very hot glass produced a matte surface, while on cooler glass, a shiny iridescence, frequently called radium. So the temperature of the glass determines the quality of the iridescence. And I asked George Fenton, I said, the last marigold you made, you need to save that for me because it's the best marigold I've ever seen. He said, it wasn't the formula, it was our process. They finally learned, just before they went out of business, how to make beautiful marigold. So I always check the new marigold because some of it is very, very pretty. So, all right.
All right.